Put a finger down, Magnus Archives Edition. Put a finger down if you're all caught up. Put a finger down if the spiral is your favorite. Put a finger down if you missed Tim.
Hello, John. Apologies for the deception, but I rather wanted to make sure you started reading, so I thought it best.
Chandeliers and caviar, the war can't touch us here. Minor character. Lay me gently in the cold darker.
Run, boy, run. They're trying to catch you.
I always feel like somebody's watching me.
They just come swiftly and gently to you.
Mayhem, Crimea, and oncoming doom.
There's something wrong, can you hear me? Knows it's on.
Follow me, I have something to show you.
Take my heart, pull it apart, and take my brain.
And the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out.
I'm distracted, sons and daughters, out for slaughter. Turn the lights off.
I can't decide whether you should live or die.
Shouldn't we have something to eat?
I don't know what to do without you.
Everybody's lonely. Everybody's lonely.
The TMA Fear Entities as Silly Songs with Larry.
Only out in outer space, they say it never ends. Yule. Adore his cheeseburger, his yummy cheeseburger, and wait for you. Feel grand if I take off my hat. The sun's getting hot, and my hat just might go flat. Baby needs to tell you something. I don't got a belly button. Pizza angel, please come to me. Tomato sauce and cheese so gooey. Oh, Santa. I'm a robot. It doesn't have a tail, it's not a monkey.
Let's see if we can catch it on the tape.
Sneeze if you have to. Sneeze if you need to. Barbara Manatee. Oh, you and me in our sport utility vehicles.
I don't think there's anyone under your skin like a Cheshire cat. I think that you are just a grin, and I can feel you laughing under my skin, and the happy palpitations are making me grin.
You don't sound Russian?
How could I sound anything, silly? I'm plastic. I don't even have a voice box. I had to borrow this one. Don't turn on the light.
Are you going to kill me?
No! I mean, yes, but not for a good long while yet. I don't want you to go to waste.
Then what? Then why are you here?
After you attacked poor Sarah, I thought it was about time we had a good old...
If you like the Magnus Archives, or Dungeons & Dragons, or both, you might be interested to know that I'm building a D&D character based on each one of the Magnus Archives entities. And I thought where better to start with sharing overviews of what goes into each one than with the eye. So I kicked things off as a variant human because they get a free feat at level 1, and the Keen Mind feat lets you always know what time it is, always know which way is north, and accurately recall anything you saw or heard in the last month. So it's really good for an eye-aligned person that knows things and retains information. Keeping with the theme of knowing things, a knowledge domain cleric gets to know 2 extra languages, gets not just proficiency but expertise in 2 knowledge-related skills, and they get a channel divinity that lets them read a creature's thoughts and put the suggestion spell on them. Great for peeking into someone's mind and forcing them to tell you their whole story about their spooky supernatural encounter they had, just as an example. I also multiclassed into Warlock, and with the Great Old One patron, you get an ability that lets you telepathically communicate with other creatures, and they don't need to speak the same language as you. So if you're on a globetrotting adventure to figure out what your predecessor had been up to, you don't have to worry about language barriers, and if you want to upset your employees by inserting terrible information into their minds, you can just kind of do that. Eldritch Invocations were the big thing that drew me into Warlock, because there's so many related to sight. With the ones that I picked out, you'll be able to see in any darkness, you'll be able to read all writing, you'll have unlimited uses of Detect Magic, you'll be able to see through a willing creature's eyes, and a little later on get some X-ray vision. For my Pact boon, I actually went with Pact of the Chain, because it lets you have a familiar, a creature that you can telepathically communicate and see through the senses of, and it lets your familiar be a sprite, a creature that's tiny, can fly, turn invisible, and can read the emotions and alignment of other creatures. So just another vehicle for seeing things and knowing things. Here's how I did the ability scores. Not all of the entities are min-maxed like this, but the Archivist is a big nerd. So nothing in the physical stats, and really good intelligence for knowing things, and good wisdom and charisma because they're your casting modifiers. These are the skills that I was able to pick out, so you have proficiency in all of the intelligence-based skills, and in perception and insight for maximum knowing things. You also get to speak Common plus a total of 5 other languages. Lastly, here are the spells that I picked out. It's of course mostly divination, but I also got a few mind control spells and Zone of Truth for maximum compelling statements out of people abilities. And that's pretty much it. If you want your D&D character to be eye-aligned, one way you might do it is by getting the Keymind feat and going with a Knowledge Cleric plus Great Old One Warlock. Let me know which entity you want me to cover next.
In the body of a ball-jointed doll, you're so fragile you can't move at all. But I
can see 3 inches in front of me. If I held up my hand, my fingers wouldn't show. But if I looked down the hole in front of me, there was a woman. She was almost glowing, floating as well, as if she were a ghost, but that's ridiculous. And there were bugs coming at me, of course. And there was meat from the ceiling hanging down. Out of the corner of my eye there was a coffin, and in the other there was a familiar shipping company. Statement ends. Man, schizophrenia is weird, huh?
Yeah.
I know we talk about it too much, but imagine being the woman in 142. Hi, I'd like to make a complaint about one of your staff members. Cool. Did he just look like absolute shit? Like, did he just look like the most rundown man you've ever seen in your goddamn life? Yeah, he's been like in my dreams. Yeah, he does that. Did he mention me?
My name is Jonathan Sims. I work for the Magnus Institute.
I just don't find death that interesting.
We don't have time for you to have a breakdown.
I am not a ghoul, archivist. I am a what? Don't forget how sharp I can be.
Hard, isn't it? Trying to ask prying questions at terminal velocity.
But can you handle me?
We want to make it safer. What's wrong? Scared of a little flame?
That's the thing about darkness.
We're all just so tiny and pointless, you see.
I thought it was about time
no face. I do really well.
We have bigger concerns than this little soap opera you call an archive.
Oh, John. Apologies for the deception.
Your recorder's on, by the way. I want to change that.
If you're a fan of the Magnus Archives, don't scroll. I have something to show you. This is Gertrude and Agnes. You can tell them apart because Gertrude has a little bit more of a diamond shape on top of her head, and Agnes has the little yellow point at the end of her bill right now. This is Melanie, and this one is Martin. I don't have an actual way to tell these two apart right now at this point, but Martin seems to be a little bigger of the two right now. Look at them in their little cup together. This is Daisy and Sasha. It's really hard to tell these two apart also, but one of them does have a little bit lighter of color than the other. Last, but certainly not least, we have Tim and John. These are the exact same ducks as the two I just showed you, Sasha and Daisy. However, these two are male, and they have little pink rubber bands on their legs to mark them apart from the other two. Oh, don't do that, Tim. I might just start calling John the archivist. The archivist! Look at his legs! Look at his little feet! Where are you going, Tim? They're so cute. If you want to see these little babies grow up and turn into big ducks, follow my account below, which I will tag that is just for my ducks. Look at little Tim. Oh. He was sleeping until John woke him up.
So nothing bad happened? You didn't wreck it? You didn't hit anybody? You didn't run anybody over? You didn't get a speeding ticket? Wait, Jeffy, why are you making that face? Jeffy, did you get a speeding ticket?
Alright, TMA fans, it's time for round 2 of which fears have chosen this house. We have the web, and more web with these weaving books, and then we've got more stranger with these books on anecdotes, then more web, and yes, that's a distortion door in the background, and more stranger with these store-bought frames with store-bought pictures. And then this is a vast door because it's an external door. It's the third external door in the house, and it opens to a 5-foot drop to nowhere. So if that's not the vast, I don't know what is. And then you guys are going to have to tell me what this is about. This shower screams, and I don't know what fear that is, but I'm scared.
I wish I could talk it through with Martin, or Tim, or Sasha. But we never really did that, did we?
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, filling up my coffee cup. One way to shake me up. I've never wanted to sleep. Tonight, right now, here we go, from London again. I look for a picture of you to keep in my pocket, but I can't seem to find one where you look how I remember. Moon will sing a song for me. I loved you like the sun. For the shadows that you
I don't think that people who read it as platonic are necessarily, wrong in how they respond to the text. But
yes, Martin, you are my reason.
I am in love, and I will not forget that.
And is this your boyfriend?
Yeah, actually.
I'm sure I love you.
I love you too.
I wish I was afraid, because I've seen how people work. I've watched them all these years. They are not driven by ambition. All their motors run on fear. Each one afraid of aging, dying, being lonely, getting caught. They're terrified of moving on, but scared of staying here. I burned my neck to the teeth of a knife. They filled my head underwater for minutes. I didn't mind. I've been blind, bound and tied, at the mercy of strangers. They beat me, whatever, my heart didn't race. I was fine. I got them to hang me from terrible heights. They took me to places of poverty, malice, unspeakable war. I have seen people die. They left me at night in the heart of the forest, the air full of noises, the creatures that eat us to speak from my face as their wild cry sounded, and darkness surrounded, and still I did not bat an eye. I wish I was, I wish I was.
I can't stop thinking about those tragic little gay men. They consume my every waking thought.
I'll have a mocha caramel latte chino made with skim milk, no whipped cream. Please put that in a grande cup, but use the same amount of coffee that you'd put into a tall. That way there's about an inch of extra room on top to stir in my own nutmeg without spilling any coffee at all. What do you want?
I'll have a tea.
Ignore how horrendously I'm sitting, or don't, it's your call. But I want to talk real quickly about what the smells feel like, god dang it. What the fears smell like in the Magnus archives. And I mentioned this specifically because someone finally noticed my patchouli joke. Listen, okay. Vast smells like ozone. Buried smells like dirt. There's several in there that smell like meat or blood or something like that. I think that the spiral smells like weed, and I'm gonna stand by that.
It feels like flying, but maybe we're dying. A cosmic confluence of pyramids, holograms.
For the past 3 years, I've used a used coffin as a coffee table.
Rusty Quill presents The Magnus Archives. Episode 2. Do not open.
Welcome to me ranking the TMA entities based on how fun they'd be as a prom date. Number 14 is the lonely because they wouldn't even show up and therefore are disqualified from the competition. Number 13 is the slaughter because it's a little too close to school shooter vibes to be comfortable. Number 12 is the same thing as the slaughter and also owie ouchie that hurts. Number 11 is a hunt because it gives me most dangerous game vibes and again, not great. Number 10 is a buried because we all know how much it sucks to try and dance when everyone's too close together and it's all sweaty and gross and ugh. Number 9 is a corruption because they are too into line dancing. That's a hive mind joke. Number 8 is the I because all they'd want to do is like watch everyone and not do anything, which is like mood valid but also not fun in a prom date. Number 7 is the N for the same reason as the I, except they're more dark and mysterious and I'm kind of into that. Number 6 is the Vast because they leave too much room for Jesus. Number 5 is the Flesh because they don't leave enough room for Jesus. Number 4 is the Spiral because I feel like they'd be good dancers but they'd also try to gaslight me and no thanks, I'm good. Number 3 is a Stranger because they'd leave and change something and then come back and then it'd be one of those like pick out the difference kind of games and I think that'd be kind of fun. Number 2 is the Web based solely on vibes. Number 1 is the Dark because it'd be a glow-in-the-dark rave.
I could finally leave! Martha, I'm coming home, sweetie! I'm back in the fucking building again! Oh my god! I'm so sorry that you have to have a body, oh yeah. I'm very sorry that you have to have a body, one that will hurt you and be the subject of so much of your fear. It will be
All aboard the toxic gossip train, chugging down the tracks of misinformation. The toxic gossip train, you got a one-way ticket to manipulation.
Here is a list of things that are canon in the Magnus archives that make me laugh every time I think about them. I already discussed the non-consensual skincare thing in a previous video. I don't think I need to go over that again, but that's one of them. Edmund Halley, the British astronomer from the 1700s who discovered Halley's Comet, is not only still alive, but is going by the name of Maxwell Rayner and is trying to extinguish the sun. A world-ending ritual was once foiled by a think piece article. Someone decided to deal with a monster by sealing it in concrete. That one actually happened more than once. An apocalyptic fear domain that's just full of cats. During the apocalypse, an ex-YouTuber and a podcaster accidentally started a cult. A guy ended up with a very obviously cursed coffin and keeps finding himself compelled to unlock and enter it. In order to avoid succumbing to this compulsion, he just froze the key in a block of ice until the people carrying it around decided to come pick it up. Due to the primarily emotional nature of the fear entities, there are no strict guidelines for the apocalyptic rituals, meaning everyone is just bullshitting their way through it. Because everyone's just bullshitting, the flesh fear entities ritual was basically just putting way too much meat in a big hole. A guy stole a person's identity and then sailed out into the middle of the ocean just to get a good night's sleep. A certain evil sentient mannequin hired a plumber to come unclog human flesh from her drain. The plumber did not notice anything weird. The mannequin found this hilarious and called a servant of a completely different fear entity over to witness the person's obliviousness. The sky ate someone. One guy had an encounter with a fear entity, but realized he was running late for dinner, so he just left. The main character's backstory is so messed up that the fact that he's an orphan is a footnote. At some point, like half the fear entities just ganged up on some random Catholic priest. A group of eldritch abominations attended a college anatomy class to learn how to better pass for human beings. Despite being genuinely horrifying, they were also eager to learn, very polite, and in general just model students. A pair of eldritch abominations speaking deliberately bad Cockney accents just showed up and took over a man's business. Immediately after getting over his habit of using arbitrary skepticism as a defense mechanism, the main character immediately asked if his coworker was a ghost. To clarify, the coworker was not a ghost.
off. Burn it all down. Burn it all down. Burn it all down. I can't decide whether you should live or die.
Shouldn't we have something to eat?
I don't know what to do without you. Everybody's lonely. Everybody's lonely.
And then I go over to the Delta Help Desk, which is an oxymoron, and I go, can I please go home on an airplane? And they go, no. In fact, we're gonna frame you for murder. And you're gonna go to jail for 30 years. And I go, why are you doing this to me? And they go, because we're Delta Airlines, and life is a fucking nightmare. I don't think this motherfucker's doing that well. All the kids like Bo Burnham more. What's Seth Meyers doing here? Fuck! Hi. And I said, wrong energy. You like this? You like stuff? He said, did you start drinking when you were 6? I said, yes. And then he gave me more paper. They think I'm dirt, but I'm not. I'm God. It's weird to be a recovering drug addict. It was weird to be a drug addict, but at least I was on drugs. What are you gonna cancel John Mulaney? I'll kill him.
Who's Taylor Swift? Oh my god! Am I about to introduce you to Taylor Swift?
I am not a Who archivist, I am a what? A Who requires a degree of identity I can't ever...
Don't blink. Don't even blink. Blink and you're dead. They are fast. Don't turn your back. Don't look away and don't blink.
Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny.
Well, let's bring him out. Here's Eric Cartman.
Whatever.
What do you mean I'm not like other girls? I'm exactly like other girls, okay? I have skin. And you know who likes Taco Bell Crunch Wrap Supremes? This gal right here. And I have the appropriate amount of teeth.
So I've gotten into the Magnus archives recently, and I really like Michael. I just think he's cool. A normal amount. An absolutely normal amount of likeness.
Can't believe we're at Hogwarts.
No, that's Buckingham Palace. Hogwarts is fictional. Do you know that? It's important to me that you know that.
It's all normalized trans bodies until the body I want to transition to is your beloved coworker who you don't realize is dead for a year because I replaced all your memories of her. The hypocrisy.
Long time ago, actually never, and also now, nothing is nowhere. When? Never. Makes sense, right? Like I said, it didn't happen. Nothing was never anywhere. That's why it's been everywhere. It's been so everywhere you don't need a where. You don't even need a when. That's how every it gets.
I am on to see my husband. I'm happy to see my husband.
No matter where you are, everyone is always connected.
How many TNA fans know that archivist is an actual real job you can have and they pay you actual real money to sit in an office and sort through historical materials because apparently the amount of regular people who know is not a lot?
I want to be very clear. I have no problem with your sexuality. This is
Homophobe!
not... It's not a homophobe thing!
Both of the gay ones. I'm sorry, I'm
honestly, to be clear, I am very socially liberal. I am fiscally conservative.
Oh, bullshit.
What? I'm a libertarian!
So, you've been on the internet and you start seeing cosplays and memes for this audio drama called the Magnus Archives. And you kind of want to check it out, get into it. Well, here's an updated beginner's guide to the Magnus Archives. Magnus Archives is a fiction scripted audio drama that is 200 episodes long, with each episode being around 30 minutes. Sounds like a lot. I promise it's a lot more digestible once you get into it. It begins as an anthology, so every episode is just an individual story, but then eventually things start connecting and everything pieces together, and every single episode is connected in the end. And you may be thinking, why is this John guy, this narrator, reading everything so dramatically? There is a canonical reason for why he sort of acts out the scenes, and also he's not just the narrator, he eventually becomes the main character of the whole series. Things start to happen outside of the statements that he is reading. There's a lot of people and faces who keep popping up once you get around season 1, season 2, and you might want to look it up on the wiki to see where you've heard this name before. I strongly recommend against that, because the wiki, right at the top, lists whether the character is alive or not. So there's nothing worse than getting a character death spoiled, or even just like major plot points of the story spoiled. So I strongly recommend not looking at the wiki. And sadly, this also applies to fan media until you've completely finished episode 200, because it will spoil it. And there's nothing more saddening than experiencing the 200th episode of Magnus Archives. So if you're looking to get into this, good luck, but avoid fan media because you don't want the most painful moment to be spoiled. If you're having trouble with audio processing or like telling the different characters apart, the transcripts are available online if you just search for them, and those are very helpful. And also, like, that can be an easier way if you're triggered by something specifically that's in the content descriptions, or you're in a place where you can't listen to something, you can just read through the transcripts, although it does take away from the experience a bit. But if you are worried about the horror aspect of it, it's really not that scary. And in the episode description, which it's on any streaming platform like YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, or like Google Podcasts, so you can find it anywhere, but it has all of the content descriptions of the horror that's listed. I will admit I wasn't into it at first. It does start off a bit boring when it's just the individual stories, but oof, the main overarching lore starts around the end of season 1. Oh, and each season is 40 episodes long. There are 5 seasons.
Man, you think these guys have a worm problem?
So much of what's behind the fog hurts. So much of it just makes me want to curl up with pain and embarrassment. And maybe the fog's here because I want it here. Is that why I open the windows? Maybe I asked the fog to come. No.
Oh no, Martin, you have found me, the evil boss on top of the evil tower. Please do not push this big red button, as it would end me, and you could kiss John freely.
Who are you?
Why, I'm Tim, of course. Who else would I be?
You're not Tim.
Oh, you caught me. I'm Sasha.
Shut up.
No, really, it's me. Sasha, whatever whatever her name was. Back from the dead, just like you wanted.
Get away from me, or I swear I'll...
You'll what? Hit me? Go on then, try it. Make a fist. Do you even know which of these hands is yours?
Stop it, stand still.
Do you even know what a hand is?
Pathetic.
Wait, I know.
I would hope you do.
Statement begins. It's still there. Still watching me. There's nowhere I can go. No place I can hide, but it doesn't keep looking at me. I don't know why. No idea what it wants from me, or if it ever had any plans beyond just staring from wherever it is hiding. I can't eat, I can't sleep. It's been months now, and it's still there. You can't see it, I know. I can't see it either, but that doesn't matter, because it can't see me. That's what matters. I can feel its gaze burrowing into the back of my neck. Does it hate me? Does it just want me to keep living in fear? I don't know why this is happening to me.
Alright, TMA fans, it's time to play What Fear Entity Governs My Mom's House? First up, we have the Bathroom of Darkness. Next up is The Buried, The Stranger, and last but not least, a distortion door. Please, send help!
You see, I didn't put kissing in the podcast because it sounds gross, kind of like wet pasta. We really wanted to give that feeling as if there's a gummy old man licking the inside of your ears. Really carry across that sense of wet moistness.
Like I didn't want my last thoughts on Earth to be low-key racist. It is remarkably easy to buy an axe in central London.
Right, where were we? Oh, also, do you have a preferred brand of lotion?
How embarrassing for you.
What?
Raggedy man, doing all you can to look like Raggedy Ann.
Check you out, punk. Yes, I know you feel it. You look like one of those damn